Hey everybody, I'm Odin, and today we are playing Wizardry Proving Grounds of the Mad Overlord, which is a remake of a game from 1981. Now, I am old, but I'm not that old. I did not play this when it came out because I was not alive, but I did play it in my childhood, and it was a very different game from this remake right here. This remake, I haven't put a lot of time into it yet. But what I've played so far, this remake is just beautiful, and it is very, very good. So, if you're wondering what it's all about, it's an old school dungeon crawler, about as old school as it gets. And this used the really old school Dungeons and Dragons rules back when it came out. And one of the really cool things is when you play the game, you can actually see the way the game looked in 1981 over here in the corner of your screen. But this remake has just made it very beautiful and very different graphically, but the core game is the same. So let's just get into it and see what's going on here. So we're gonna go to a new game here. We're gonna call this adventure YouTube, appropriately enough. So you can choose a level set, which is original or console. So these are the original level layouts from the original 1981 classic. The console version is a bit more complex and challenging to navigate than the original levels. We're just going to stick with the original here. And then it tells you here that this remake contains new options to improve player quality of life. Do you wish to play with these new options? And we probably do, right? So we're going to go here to configure options, and they have a couple of things here you can choose from. So you can set your starting attribute points, and that's the way it used to be in the original. Or no, I'm sorry, it was a random roll. Set points is not where you set it, I misspoke, but it's where there is a set number of attribute points based on your class. Or, like I said, you can go with a random roll. The random roll is how it was in the original. We're just going to keep it as this kind of new thing, a set amount of points. Now, theoretically, you can get more starting attribute points with random rolls, but I just want to go with the set points to keep things simple here. And everything else, I'm just going to leave as it has default here. They have expanded in configuration, temple design, character recruiting is enabled. So if you want to customize it, there are many things here that you can do, and you can also get a preset here to either do modern, original, console, or custom. We're just going to stick with modern here. So we're going to save those changes. Alright, and then it asks you, would you like to begin the game with a starter party of level 2 characters, or create all your own characters? I'm going to begin with a starter party just so we can get into this a little more quickly, but you can absolutely create all your characters. Alright, you know what? In fact, I just changed my mind. That's how professional I am. I'm changing my mind on the fly here. And by the way, this is the way the game looked in 1981. That right there, if you can believe it. So yeah, let's just create all the characters, because I might as well show you the character creation, right? So it tells you to visit the training grounds to make your own characters or edit existing ones to your liking. All new characters start with basic armor and weapons already equipped. And so that's the purpose of the training grounds, which are over here, you'll see in a second. Then they have the tavern, and in the tavern is where you can actually configure your party. So you can make a bunch of characters and then add and remove them to your party as you go. Another cool thing is you can also have a party in the maze, which is what the dungeon is called, and you can make someone else and bring them into the maze to where your party is and have them join the party, which is especially helpful if somebody dies, and they will. So it tells you to enter the maze to start your journey. And of course, this is very true. This game can be unforgiving. It's more than unforgiving. Build your party steadily, returning often to town to rest and level them up at the inn, and buy new equipment at the trading post. And then here, this is very, very true. It is important to know that party members will die. Now, you can resurrect them at the temple, which is up here at the top of the hill. But sometimes it can be best to just start fresh, especially for inexperienced characters. So in other words, if you have a low-level character that dies, and you will, it might be best to just make a new one instead of bothering with resurrecting them. Alright? So, here is the hub of the game, if you will. So right here, you can visit the training grounds. I'm sorry, these are the training. I thought it's on the left, so I was like, oh, it must be that. Anyway, so we're going to go to the training grounds so we can make some characters. All right, create character. So these are your lineage or your races. Human, elf, dwarf, gnome, halfling. And as you can see, these attributes here change. Well, I guess these are the attributes, but these... Oh, it's the same thing. Okay, once again, my professionalism is shining through. So your race is going to determine those starting numbers. So we'll start with a human here. They excel at nothing, but have no particular weakness, except for a decided lack of piety. So we'll choose a human, and we have a set number of points for a human class, and it's going to be 12. Over here, it tells you the available classes, and these are the minimum required attribute points to be that class. So if you want to be a fighter, you have to have a strength of at least 3. If you want to be a mage, you got to have an intelligence or intellect of 3, so on and so forth. So the fighter is what you would expect, the mage is what you would expect, the priest is your cleric or your healer, the thief is also what you would expect, it's your rogue. Now a bishop, if I remember correctly, is... I believe it's a mix of mage and priest, I want to say. I think you start off learning mage spells, and then after you hit a certain level, you start learning priest skills. I think that's right. And then the samurai, as you can see, is very complicated here. And I think that's a mixture of, I want to say fighter and priest, but I could be wrong. But it's a mixture of something. There's also a few other classes that become available as you level up, just so you know. Alright, so what we're going to want to do is just make this human a fighter. So we're going to prioritize strength, of course. Let's put it up to something good, like 13, right? And then intellect, that's going to be something that deals more with... Well, let me just let the game explain it. If we hit left control, it tells you intellect influences a character's ability to learn arcane spells and identify enemies. Identifying enemies is important, because if you don't know things about an enemy, you don't really know how to hurt them and that kind of stuff. And every time you run into an enemy for the first time, they are unidentified. So it tells you intellect is best for mage, bishop, and samurai. Alright, and just to be thorough here, strength affects your mettle and skill in combat. The higher the strength, the more likely the character is to hit, and the more damage they will cause when attacking. And of course that's most important for fighter, samurai, and lord. Over here with piety, let's just look at these real quick. This is for you to learn divine spells, which are going to be your healing spells, and that's for your priest, bishop, and lord. Vitality, this is the life force, it's the amount of hit points you have. It's in modern times, it's usually endurance or something like that, or constitution. All characters benefit from high vitality, and especially those who stand in the front row of a party. Now this is important to note. Only the characters standing in the front row can do melee attacks, so keep that in mind. Agility affects your character's speed, so the higher the agility, the earlier you'll act in combat, and the more likely you are to avoid traps on treasure chests. So the classes Thief and Ninja benefit further from a high agility. Alright, and then finally you have Luck. Luck comes to a character's aid in many mysterious ways, and all classes can benefit from a bit of luck. So for a fighter, we're really going to be focusing on vitality and strength. Agility is not terrible, I would think, for avoiding traps and things like that, but I'm just going to focus really heavily here on strength and vitality. Alright, so we're going to confirm those attributes. Alright, and so now you actually choose the class. Now we know that we are able to be a fighter. That's going to be the one that we choose. Then you choose your alignment. Something that's important to note about alignments. You cannot mix good and evil characters in your party unless you do a kind of exploit, which I'm not going to go over right now. But we're just going to make everybody good, is the idea. Alright, so we're going to choose fighter and we're going to choose good. Then you can choose a portrait. We'll just take this one right here. And then we got to name the character. And to keep things simple, we're going to call this guy Fighter. I know, very clever. And I just got an achievement for creating a character in the training grounds. I reset everything here on the game before doing this, except I kept my saves. Alright, and so we're going to create another character. We'll try to speed this up. So, elves are intelligent and pious, but not very robust. They excel at intellectual pursuits and are excellent spellcasters. So, we're going to get an elf, and we're going to make this one a mage, so we want to prioritize intellect here, and a little bit of vitality, and we don't really have to worry about piety or strength so much. So let's just really go nuts here. Now, I am not by any means saying that I'm making the right decisions here when it comes to the attribute points, but there you go. So we will choose mage, we will choose good, and we'll say this is our mage right here, And again, to keep things simple, we will name them Mage. Alright. Then we're going to make, I guess we're going to want a healer as well. So, let's see. A dwarf is strong and hardy, so they're good for fighters, of course. Gnomes make excellent priests, as it tells you, so that's what we're going to do. As a priest, we want to focus on piety, of course. So we'll put a bunch of points into piety, maybe a little bit of luck, why not? Maybe some intellect, but we'll just really focus on piety here. Choose priest and good, and that person will be, oh, I don't know, this guy. And again, that's our priest. Let's make a couple more here. So we're going to want a thief because you really want to be able to deal with trapped treasure chests. So halflings make superb thieves, so we're going to choose that. Agility is going to be the thing you really want for your thief. So he's going to have a pretty good luck as well. So we're just going to basically do that, give him some vitality as well, confirm the attributes, choose thief. Now a thief can't be good, but neutral is not a problem, so there you go. And there's our thief. And we might want one more fighter, I'm guessing. So let's get a dwarf here. Get strength up really nice with vitality as well. And we'll confirm those attributes, and we'll choose fighter and good. And this will be Fighter 2. I know, it's very clever. Alright, so other things you can do here is you can inspect your roster. So you can see all of the information that you need here, including their stats, like how many kills they have, deaths. You can also look at the items that they start with over here, and if they have spells, they'll be present there. These are the arcane, these are the priest divine spells. So like this fighter starts with a longsword, chainmail, and a shield. And you see here, this is where the old school Dungeons and Dragons thing comes into play. It says -3 AC bonus. In the old days, a lower AC was better. So that might be confusing for some people. Alright, so another thing is you can delete characters, you can edit characters, or return to the courtyard. So now that we made a bunch of characters, we're going to go to the inn. And this is how you populate your party. So, let's go to... Oh, I'm sorry. We have to go to the tavern, not the inn. I'm sorry. Once again, I am very professional. So, at any time, there will be 12 seasoned adventurers available to recruit to your roster of characters. Level 1 recruits are always free, but more seasoned recruits will cost a bit of gold based on their experience. And every time you go into the maze, the list of recruits refreshes. So that's very important to keep in mind there. So you can add to party, remove from party, recruit, change position. We'll just go to add to party first. And so we'll say, alright, we want the fighter in our party, and we want our front line to have our fighters. And the thief really is not that good in melee combat, but I'd rather have my mage and priest in the back line there. And you can have 6 people, by the way, but we're just going to stick with 5 for now. And I don't need to reposition them, because this is how we want them. So we'll return to the courtyard. Alright, so basically, we can go to the temple again to resurrect things like that, get rid of debuffs, stuff like that. We can go to the store to buy things. We have a little bit of gold, 250, but we're just going to go in and show you how this works using our starting gear. Alright, so let's enter the maze and show you what this is all about. Alright, so, Proving Grounds of the Mad Overlord, you have taken your first step into the fabled maze. It was only a short time ago that Overlord Trevor sent out the call, beckoning the country's adventurers to come to this place. The story, as it was told, was that his one-time friend and advisor, the wizard Werdna, had stolen the Overlord's prized amulet and escaped with it into the mysterious maze, a dungeon built of magic, chaos, and death. The Overlord promises power and the rank of Honor Guard to any adventurer who recovers his amulet. And so you came, and somewhere deep within this maze's Stygian halls, the powerful wizard Werdna awaits. Now, this dungeon is not procedurally generated. Alright, so you will be able to get familiar with it. And as you can see, just looking here right now, the textures and everything in this game are just really beautiful. And then compare that to the way the game actually looked over here. It's just astonishing. Alright, so we can use WASD to look around here. We've got our little mini-map right here. And we can start working our way down here. Now you can get ambushed in the hallways, so be aware of that. Sometimes there will be secrets, so sometimes you might want to click on a wall and see if something happens. And then over here, it's just going to give us some tutorial stuff, the ambient map. As you explore the maze, you will fill in your ambient map, which details your perceived surroundings and heading. Be cautious, though. The maze can deceive your perceptions. If you suspect you've been teleported or spun around by Wordna's magic, casting the arcane spell Dumapic will fix any misperceptions. So that makes things even more complicated. Alright, so we go over here like, we can click on that wall. Yeah, nothing happens. So here's a room which is where you're most likely to find encounters. Now, in my experience, at least from what I've seen, people like to go to this room, have a fight, leave the maze, heal up, and come back and do it again to kind of grind. And grinding might be something you want to do, but for now we're just going to be exploring, so let's see what's going on here. So you try to move into the door and it's like, well, what's happening? So you got to click on it. Alright, so there is an encounter. And that's a lot of enemies right off the bat. Now they might look strange, and that's because they're unidentified, but luckily we just identified the front row. They're a bunch of orcs. Now in the back, all we know is that there are 5 small humanoids. We don't know what they are, or they look like goblins, okay, let's be real. They're probably goblins, but in the front row we know that we have orcs here. Again, I would remind you to look over here. This is what it used to look like. Alright, so you can toggle enemy cards with left alt. So if you have identified a creature, you will know some things about it. And we know some things here, like how much XP you get. But we don't know their class, their base armor class, their HP range, the attacks they have. We don't know what resistances they have, or any of this stuff here. So keep that in mind, alright? Now, this is where you select your actions, and you're going to select an action for each of your party members, and then the turn will proceed. So something you can do, of course, is just attack right away, but you can also parry. Alright, and parry is going to give you a defensive bonus. So that's usually something you're going to do if someone's not really going to attack on a turn, or if they can't really do anything effective. And of course you can also try to run. Now, this is a lot of enemies. Honestly, I don't know how we're going to perform against these guys. This seems pretty bad right off the bat, but we'll see what happens. So our fighter is going to fight. And now you can select a group to target, so either the orcs or the small humanoids. I'm guessing we might do more damage against the small humanoids, but the orcs are the ones really concerning me right now, so I'm going to choose the orcs. Now you see the highlighting changes here to Fighter 2. Fight. Also go after the first line. Our thief, again, he might not be able to do much in the way of fighting right now, but we can tell him to inspect the second line of enemies to see if he can identify them. So, when you encounter an unknown enemy, your party will automatically attempt to identify it each round until it's identified. If you wish to learn more about an enemy, select Inspect Enemy during combat. So in total, there are 3 levels of enemy knowledge: Identified, Observed, and Deduced. So you can review what you've learned by looking at the Bestiary in the pause menu, or using the enemy cards. And that characters with high intellect and piety are your best bets to inspect. So the thief is actually not the best to inspect, but we're going to use him anyway. So now it's the mage's turn. So we could try casting a spell. Let's see what this mage knows. She knows Little Fire, which targets one enemy and does anywhere from 1 to 8 fire damage. She also knows Bad Air, which targets the whole group. I like that, and it can cause sleep on the monster group. And if they are asleep, it tells you you get a bonus to hit and double damage when you hit them. So we're going to try that, is what we're going to do. Alright, and we're going to target the orcs. And then over here for the priest, we can try Dispel Undead, but these guys are not undead, so that's kind of pointless. We could try to inspect, we could try to cast a spell, or we can just parry. I'm going to try... I think we'll just... let's just try to inspect also with the priest. We're risking some damage on both the thief and the priest here, but it's okay. So let's again try to identify that second line, and then it says, is this okay? Yes, fight. So here's round 1. The thief failed. Alright. The orc misses the thief. Orc misses the thief. Small humanoid hits fighter 2 for 2 damage. So you can see everything happening over here. So clearly they have the initiative advantage. Alright. We killed an orc. We killed a second orc. Alright. There's the sleep spell. It was ineffective on some of them. But as you can see, 2 orcs fell asleep, but one of them is okay again. Alright? So, let's see here. They switched positions. So now we've got these kobolds. Oh, I thought they were goblins. It turns out that they are kobolds. So, if we look here, we want to look at the second line. How do I get here? I don't remember how to get their card to come up. I don't remember exactly how to do that. Like, we're seeing the orcs here. You know what? That's something I probably should have looked at. Oh well. We'll deal with it. Alright, so this time, we are going to attack... Let's see. The fighter is going to attack the front line. The second fighter is going to attack the back line. So that would be 2. The thief this time is going to parry. The mage is probably going to cast... Try to put these kobolds to sleep here, I think would be the thing we want to do here. And keep in mind, this does cost spell points, by the way. But we'll see how that works here in a moment. And then for the priest, everyone's health is looking good except for Fighter 2, so we might want to cast Heal on Fighter 2. So let's get this turn underway. There's the heal. Alright, Kobold missed, Orc missed, our fighter missed, Kobold missed, another miss from the Kobolds. That's good. Lots of misses here. We cast our sleep spell. It was ineffective against most of them, but 2 of them are asleep. So yeah, we're doing some damage here. Alright, and if you look at our health, we're doing pretty well here, so that's not a big deal. So there was an autosave there. Now, a Kobold was asleep, but it's okay now, and an Orc was asleep, but it's okay now. Alright, so, let's see. I really want to... Let's attack the Orcs again. And then we'll attack the front line here. I'm going to have the Thief try to attack, just to see if he can really do anything. And so the Mage can't cast a spell now, because she doesn't have her spell points available right now. So she's going to parry, and the Priest is going to parry as well. Alright, our fighter killed an Orc. Kobold missed. We hit the Kobold for 3 damage with the Thief. It's not terrible. And we got that damage returned to us. Our Fighter 2 got hit again. Alright, Fighter 2 killed the Kobold. Alright, so again, Fighter 2 is looking not so good health-wise. Thief is looking not so good. Honestly, this group of enemies is probably... It's just not a good idea for us to fight them, but we're going hog wild here. We don't care. So, with the first fighter, we are going to attack the back row. And by the way, you can see which one was asleep there when you hover over the rows. So if I choose that, you can see that second Kobold from the left is asleep. I'm going to have Fighter 2 go after the Orc. The Thief is going to parry. The Mage is going to parry. And the Priest is going to cast Heal on our Thief here to try and keep him alive. Let's see what happens. Alright, our first fighter got hit. And Fighter 2 just died. That's great. Alright, we're taking a lot of damage here. Well, okay. So now you can see that this is not a great situation. What we're probably going to want to do is... We have our priest here who could possibly heal the fighter, but we're probably going to want to run because we're clearly not going to win this fight. This is a horrible first fight. And so naturally, this is what happens when I decide to make a video, but that's how it always works. So we're going to choose run, 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 and Fighter 2 is dead. Alright, so we successfully ran away. And get used to that, because you're going to have to do it. But here's the good news. It's not for nothing. We got XP. That is very, very good. Now, we could camp, by the way. If you press Shift or you click on this, we can choose, like right here, we can inspect the character, use an item, change position. Oh, I'm sorry, when you click, that doesn't do the camping. I guess it's just Shift for camping. Where? No, it's not. Party options, there it is. You have to press Shift twice. You can return to town. Actually, I don't know. I don't remember how to camp. I don't remember. Okay, so let's... Okay, so the priest says we should visit the Temple of Camp back in town to see if they can resurrect our fallen. No, we're not going to do that. What we're going to do is go back to town by clicking on the staircase. And we're just going to replace our lost fighter, is what we're going to do. So, if we go... We can create a new character. We can try to just recruit one. So let's go to the tavern. What is with me? Okay, we're going to go to the tavern and recruit a character. Again, level 1 characters are free. So here's another fighter right here, Beatrice. She has 16 strength. That's very nice. We'll go ahead and choose her. Alright, so we're going to pay 0 gold for her. She's been added to the roster. Alright, so what we're going to do then is remove our dead person from the party. Okay, that was probably a good idea. Alright, and then we go back and we'll go to add to party and we will choose Beatrice. And then after that, we're going to want to reposition. So we want Beatrice to change. Well, you kind of have to do it, yeah, left or right, don't you? Yeah, you do. Okay. So I use A to move left here. There we go. That's where we want her. Actually, I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter if the thief is in the center or not. But yeah, so that seems like that'll be good. So we'll confirm with enter. Whoops, I did it again. All right. Now, we're going to return to the courtyard. Now, you'll notice again that the fighter is still hurt, so that's an issue. So if we go to the inn, we should be able to select him and say, yeah, rest and recover. So he recovered 6 hit points, and now he's good to go. We're all good to go. Oh, and here's where you can do the full party rest, by the way, in the inn. Like, I can't remember how to do it in the maze. Again, like I said, I've only got like an hour or 2 in the game so far, so please forgive my ignorance. But even if I had like 100 hours, I'd still be ignorant because that's just me. Let's go back in. Let's see what kind of encounter we get this time. I'm going to go to that same room. Alright. And there's not always an encounter, by the way. Alright, we must have identified them. No, it doesn't. It just says they're skeletons, but they could... Oh, okay, we did. They are undead kobolds. Cool. Alright. As usual, we don't know much. We can see how the group was created, though. A 1d6 plus 1 roll was rolled, and clearly it was a 4, and then they add the 1. There you go. So let's see what we can do this time. Fighter 1, attack. Fighter 2, attack. Thief, parry. Mage, oh, I forgot about her spell points. That's right. She needs to rest to get those back. Alright, parry and parry. Not a lot of good options here. Alright, we killed a kobold. Alright, our parry helped us there. Our parry helped us there. And they missed on all their attacks. Cool. Alright. So that's cool. Also, I forgot to mention this, the toggle health bars. If you press shift, you can just see that all the time. And so that can be helpful. So we'll fight. You know what? I'm going to have the thief fight too. And then parry and parry on our back line. The thief did a little bit of damage. Alright, they're not hitting us, thankfully. Man, we did not do a lot of damage there. We got that one, though. Alright, fighter took 4 damage. Let's keep attacking. Let's parry with the thief, parry with the mage, and I guess we'll go ahead. Whoops, that's not what I meant to do. Oh, I restarted it. Okay. Fight, parry, parry. We wanted to try to Now, here's the thing. If you dispel the undead, you don't get any XP. But if you're in a bad situation, and your enemies are undead, and you'd rather not run, you can try dispelling, and again, the enemies will go away, but you won't get any XP, so we don't want that. So neither our priest nor our mage have enough spell points to do anything right now, which is embarrassing, so they're just going to parry. Let's see what happens. Oh, this is great. Alright, so once again we're in a horrible situation here. I can't believe this. This is just not good. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to run. Fighter failed to run, thief failed to run. Beatrice failed to run. Fighter is dead. And there you have it. So we'll try to run again and hope the whole party doesn't get killed. Alright, we managed to run away this time. So here's what we're going to do. We got party XP, each member received some XP, but none of them have leveled up yet. So again, it says shift to camp, right? So I guess this is the camp menu. And so you can select a character. So like, for example, the mage. If we go here, if you inspect the character, this is what I'm looking for here. Where are the spell points? So yeah, we have 0 level 1 spell points here. So that's how you can tell. And then of course, if we select our priest, we will also see 0 divine spell points here. So we're gonna have to rest to get those all back. So let's get out of here. Let's see. Let's just go back. And this way I can show you the rest and how that works. I can't believe I couldn't even win a single fight in this whole episode. But it just goes to show how really difficult this game can be. But anyway, so what I would do here is I would replace the fighter. But just to show you, let's go to the inn and let's do party rest. So 1 or more members of your party... Oh, whoops. I think it said that they're dead, so basically it wasn't going to help, I think, is probably what that was. So let's not do that. Let's go to the tavern, and let's remove the corpse from the party. Alright. Then we will go to the inn, and we will say party rest. All hit points and spell points recovered. See, this is what I should have done the first time, but of course I'm an idiot. So now, if we were to inspect our characters... like the priest, we see there's now 2 divine spell points. And if we inspect the mage, she's got 2 arcane spell points. Alright, so this is where we're going to end this episode. I really, really love this game. I mean, despite how brutal and unforgiving it is, and despite how embarrassing this whole video has been for me, I still love this game. And if this looks like something you would enjoy, I cannot recommend it enough to you. It is fantastic, and as you can see, it is beautiful. It's really well done, and there's really a lot to it, but I just can't really get into too much more in such a short video. Thank you very much for hanging out. I appreciate it very much. Please hit like and subscribe if you would like to, and I will see you all next time.